We've all been caught by the same issues in AI coding tools, endless bug loops and functionality that just doesn't work. Well, today I want to show you a coding agent is changing that and can code by itself for up to 3 hours and will automatically test all of the code it writes for you. I'm talking about Replit Agent 3, and it is released either today or yesterday, depending on the release of this video. And I'm going to take you through all of the features of Agent 3, show you how to build an actual production ready app, and explain how you can use Replit Agent 3 to build apps 10 times faster and work on your code while you sleep. If you don't know me, my name is Chris, and for the last 15 years I've been designing apps and advising startups on product and design. And with that said, let's jump straight into Replit and see what it can do.
Build great products. Build great products.
So this is Replit, and on the surface of it, it just looks like the same interface here, but behind the scenes, Replit has made one of the most significant changes that they've made in their entire product, really, in the upgrade of the agent to agent version 3. And this agent is basically similar to other coding agents, can really code for like a very long period of time, so it can do very complex tasks. And they've said it can code by itself for up to 200 minutes, which is just over 3 hours, and it also will test all of its own code. So periodically it runs tests on the code to make sure everything is working in your app, and this is going to basically lead to significantly less bugs and a much higher quality of code output as well, and a much higher quality of app that you're building. The entire goal here is to help non-technical people be able to build apps without writing a single line of code, and the more that these tools are able to write better code and test the code themselves as they're building, the less that we're going to actually have to debug and try and fix things that are broken with the apps that we're building. And so I just want to go through a few features here of Replit that you might not be aware of, and some of them that have been released with Agent 3. Firstly, you can create agents and automations. And so this, very similar to other tools, is basically allows you to write a prompt and build an agent or an automation within Replit, but it can also build much more complex apps using Agent version 3. And that is something that I'm going to show you here today, basically by building an app that has an AI agent built into it that I can chat with, and have Replit kind of create that app where it will automatically generate system prompts for those agents and allow me to kind of chat with my entire like startup team. So I'm going to build like all of these different agents for, you know, a co-founder, a marketing expert, a senior developer, all of these things, all within this app that I'm building in Replit. And it's going to be able to do that for me because of the improved power of Agent 3, and this is going to give me a much higher quality app output. So without me rambling on for any more time, I'm just going to get straight into it and start building. One of the things that I really love about Replit actually here is just the theme selection. So you can kind of go into your theme creator here and actually design your own app themes, or just choose from one of these like preset themes. So I'm actually just going to use, let's actually select quadratic, because I think that's going to be better suited for this app that we're building. And you can build your own themes in there as well. I'm just going to select web app down here because I want to build a web app basically, and that's going to have that's going to automatically set up users and a database and all that stuff for me as well. And then I can hook up, I think I can hook up payments later with Stripe. But first, I'm just going to write in my first prompt here. So let's put the prompt in. Okay, so I've written my first prompt here and giving the AI tool an idea of the context of what I want to build. So this is an app that lets me create custom AI agents that I can chat to. I'm going to give it the sort of the user journey and the pages that I want to create. So I want to have a dashboard like ChatGPT with a left-hand navigation and a button allowing me to create a new agent. The main view of the dashboard should show all of my agents. Left-hand panel should show conversations I've had with those agents. The user journey should be that the user clicks create agent, sees a pop-up with fields for name, role, and instructions. And that would also have buttons to generate these with OpenAI and use the other input fields to inform what it creates. So I'm basically going to be able to generate like custom system prompts for these agents using OpenAI. Then when I click on create from the pop-up, it would create an agent in my dashboard, and then by clicking on that agent, I'll be able to see all of my chats and then create a new chat with the agent. One thing I really like about Replit is you can improve this first prompt, which I think is really key to actually building a really good app that is super strong right from the beginning. Like that first prompt kind of informs a lot of the direction of where you're going to go with this. And so this actually creates me a much better first prompt here that's going to generate a much better app, and then allow me to build features on it much easier. So let's start the chat here and create this app. One other thing that's super useful about Replit Agent 3 is that you have these two modes. So you've got plan mode and you've got build mode. And when we get into the chat for the actual app, you'll be able to see how you switch between those modes. By default, it goes into plan mode when you start building your app. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a plan to actually build this app from scratch. It's going to give me the steps that it needs to kind of go through to actually code all of this app functionality and make it work. And we're going to see here, you can see at the bottom, it's planning. It's basically planning how it's going to do this. It's understood my request a little bit, so let's see the plan that it comes back with. The agent here can also search the web as well, so this is doing a lot more stuff than just like writing the code in your project. It can search the web, find documentation, all of that stuff. So it's actually looked up the Replit OpenAI integration. I feel like it would probably know that stuff like out of the box anyway, but it's gone and found the documentation for that anyway, and it's pulled through the relevant information here. That's had like 20 different sources basically that's informed how it's going to build this. And here is the plan for our app. So it's going to include a custom AI agent creation, AI powered agent generation, dashboard view displaying all created agents, ChatGPT style interface, left hand sidebar, individual chat sessions, a dark theme, and then responsive design with interfonts, grid layout, etc. And so what we can do here is basically select between two different options. Either we can start with the design and just have like a prototype of the app that we want to create. This is a really great path if you just want to see roughly the layout that it's going to do before you actually go and build the full application. And not only does this mean you can kind of work quicker to get that first layout looking right before you actually build the app. I think one of the really good ways to actually build applications using these AI tools is to start with just like one page with a UI and a layout and get the styling and the layout right first, and then actually build out all the functionality on top of that. One of the most difficult things is if you build an app, it creates all the functionality for you, and then you realize that you need to actually change the layout and the structure and the design of like all these different pages. It can actually take a really long amount of time to like figure that all out and do all of those changes, like individual little design changes across all of this. So it can be really good to get that set up right first, or you can click build the entire app, and now we'll just build out the full functionality of your app. That's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to set that to run. So that is now building the app, and I can show you some of the other features of Agent 3 here as well. So in the bottom left here, you've got your chat interface where you can basically select between build and plan modes. So plan is to like ask questions about your code or plan your next features. And this is really good if you're like, if you want to approach this, which I would highly recommend, of like breaking your app functionality down into like individual features or individual things that you want to change, and then starting with a new chat almost every single time you want to build a new feature. And you can do this up here with this icon. You can't do it whilst something's working, but every time you build a new feature, create a new chat and then put it into plan mode, get it to plan that out, and then get it to execute on that code. That is going to give you a much higher quality of code output and a much higher chance of actually not getting bugs and building an app that actually works. The second mode here is build, which basically is just going to allow it to actually write the code in your project. And if you go down to this agent tools button here, which is not that highlighted, if you do go through this for the first time, it is going to give you an onboarding, like to point all of these things out, but it can be really easy to miss. There's a bunch of super useful things that you can do here. So these are going to result in higher costs from Replit, but if you know how to use them in the right instance, they are super, super powerful. So the first one here is app testing. So this runs autonomous tests to verify the functionality and basically allows you to kind of avoid any of those really big errors and bugs that are happening, because intermittently throughout writing your code, Replit is going to then just be testing your code as you're building your app. It's super useful, and I would recommend just leaving that on like all the time, just to make sure you're keeping on testing the functionality in the code in your app. And this is where we're getting more to the point where like you don't really need to know how to code even to build like a production grade app. And I think we're getting very close to that being almost like 100% true here. You've got max autonomy mode, which basically deepens the scope of the agent tasks and it maximizes autonomy. Now this is really good if you're building complex apps or larger apps and you have a huge database, a lot of really complex features that all work together with each other and kind of will all affect each other. If you have like a really big like dashboard with a lot of custom data being pulled in from different sources, a lot of complex AI functionality, that sort of stuff. That's going to be really good for that. Now this is in beta, but it does mean that the agent can kind of go off on its own a little bit more and figure out a lot more stuff before it builds. And then you can also turn on this higher power model, basically, which uses a higher accuracy model. It does cost extra money, so it's 5 times the cost of the normal model, but that I found that to be really good, again, for like building complex features and also addressing bugs and errors. And so usually you would get caught in this loop of like trying to fix a bug, going round and round and round in circles and not being able to fix it, just copy and pasting the error back into the chat and just hoping that it's going to do it better this time. Well, this is a really good way of actually trying to fix the bug and getting it fixed on the first time. Just turn on the higher power mode and you'll see this icon down here, and then enter the bug that you want to fix, and that should fix it for you. You've got some other options here as well, so you can allow the agent to do web search and you can allow the agent to generate images for you, so it gives you a little bit more control over how the agent is actually working in your project. You can see that this is still creating this project. This is going to work for a little while, and it's okay to like let it work for a while, because with some of these more complex projects it's going to take a little bit longer to actually build them. You can see in the top left here that this has got agent 3 on the chat, so that's actually using agent 3 here. I've got my preview here at the top, and I just want to show you some other things you can do whilst we're waiting for this to generate as well. Quick break in the episode to talk about my community for people who are building apps with AI and want to actually launch their app and get real customers. It's called the AI App Builders Academy. So if you're building an AI app with Bolt or Lovable or Cursor or any of these AI tools, and you actually want to make a profit and launch your app, then this is the community for you. Inside, you'll get access to a community of other builders, as well as my 30-day app course, helping you go from idea to app to a profitable launch in just 30 days. You'll also get access to weekly calls with live workshops and training, as well as all of my startup frameworks and resources, and 24/7 support from the community to help you answer any questions or problems you're having with building and launching your AI app. So if you're building an app with AI and you actually want to make a profit and launch your app, then head over to school.com/AI apps to find out more. I'll see you there. So if you go plus onto this, you can see you basically create a new tab, and then you can look at anything in your project. So you can search the contents of your code. You can look at your integrations. You can look at your database setup, your authentication setup, app storage, all of your kind of secret keys, and configure those as well. You can go into your so that's your secrets. I'll need to put the OpenAI AI key in here actually, but Replit is going to prompt me to do that in a second. You can also invite collaborators to your project as well, so you can have multiple people working on things inside of Replit, and you can just search for anything inside your project as well. So you can search for a certain code file or anything like that. And if you open up this right hand menu here, you actually get a view of all of the code in your project, and I can go into any of these files and see like the code that is being written. Now you don't have to use this at all, and that's just if you do want to edit the code here, you can still do that. And so let's wait to see what Replit Agent 3 comes back with here. We've got our AI agent dashboard here. It's looking pretty basic at the moment. I'm not super happy with the design of this. It hasn't done the left-hand navigation as mentioned. Let's create an agent in here. So this is like, so let's do marketing expert. I'm going to go over to OpenAI and create an API key so that we can put it into Replit. And so let's create an API key for OpenAI and just call it Agent 3. I'm just going to copy that and let's put that back into Replit. So this is using an this is actually using an Open API key that's already in my account, and you can save multiple secrets to your account. I'm actually just going to continue with that, so that will make that easier. Let's click generate. So it said I've created an MVP and identified a task list to work on. If everything looks good, continue building to make these updates to your app. So let's click continue building. So if I click on create agent now and just type in like marketing expert here and click generate with AI, that's going to give me an error. So this is like a very familiar type of error that you would see if you're using any of these tools already. But what you can see in the agent log here on the left, basically you can see it said, now that I've started it working on these other tasks, what it's done is it's basically analyzed the code base, and it's creating a plan to kind of execute through these new features that it's building. What it's saying is, I can see the application is running successfully with some TypeScript errors that need fixing and an OpenAI API error. So that was what we were getting there. Let me analyze the current state and create a comprehensive plan. So what we need, looking at the logs and code, I can see it's got all of these things basically. So what's missing and what's broken. So we've got some errors here. There's type safety issues, no persistent database, currently using in-memory storage, missing left sidebar navigation for conversations. So that is super interesting. It's actually picked up that it's built the app incorrectly, and it's missed the sidebar, which I asked for in the original prompt. So it doesn't have the left-hand sidebar. So it's also given it a complexity assessment. So this has said, like, this is a complex app with multi-step workflows, AI integrations, and complex data relationships. I need to create a task list to ensure all MVP features work properly before adding next phase features. So this is going to going through and reviewing all of the functionality that is already built, checking the code, making sure that everything works properly. What's going to be interesting is if I do this, I'm letting this run, once this has kind of fixed these issues, so you can see I'm just scrolling down, basically it's doing all of these things here, set up the database, it's pushed the database schema to the database, it's created storage in the database, and that's replacing the in-memory storage, or that's storage for like all of the information basically. It's fixed the TypeScript errors that were happening, and there are 500 errors when trying to fetch agents and conversations. That was the error message that we saw there. So if the agent wasn't doing this in the left, I would probably like keep seeing that error over and over again, and I might like copy and paste it back into the chat here, but the agent 3 is actually fixing that for me without me even having to ask. It's just reviewed the logs and the code, and it's seen that that's happening, and it's reviewing it. So it seems that the workflow is restarting due to the code changes. Let me also add error logging to the conversations and refresh the logs to see the detailed error. So error logging is really like adding a description or like logs of like what errors are happening in your app. So this would be useful if you were a developer and building an app, because you would be able to see what errors were happening, and then that would give you an idea of how to fix it. What the agent is doing here is basically adding error logs so that the agent can see the errors and the agent can fix the errors for you. So it's found the issue clearly. The problem is with connection to the Neon database. That's the database service that Replit uses. Now let me configure the pool with the WebSocket constructor. So it's doing all of this kind of like complex stuff. You can see how many steps here the agent is going through. And what you can do even is you can just leave this running. And if I show you my phone, you can see on the bottom there, the Replit has got a status on my phone. So I can just kind of go off, do something else, go for a coffee, whatever I need to do, and I'll be able to track the progress of Replit on my phone without having to worry about paying attention to when it's finished. I can just see on my phone when it's finished and then come back whenever it's ready to continue. So here we go. It's creating the conversation sidebar component. It says the database is now working. I can see that API endpoints are returning 200 status codes. So again, if we'd have continued working on this, we would have got more errors, and we would have had to fix them. And that is probably the experience that you've already had building apps before. So this is really great. And this may seem like a little bit boring of a watch, because like you just have this thing in the middle and nothing's changing. But I can guarantee you on the left here in the agent chat, it's actually doing a lot of work here, and it's been working for, I don't know, I've been chatting and rambling on for about 5 or 10 minutes here whilst it's been working. So yeah, let's just leave it for now and then come back when it's finished, and I can show you some of the things that it's done and the app that it builds after just the second prompt. So one other thing that I want to highlight here actually whilst the agent is still working is you can see in the left hand side here that the agent has opened up a browser to test the functionality of the app. So the agent here, and if you can skip the test here, but I'm going to leave it running. The agent here is actually working like in like a virtual desktop environment, using a browser, and then testing the functionality of the app. So it's saying, I've confirmed that the page title is AI Agent Dashboard. There are no active agents. And now I'll proceed to step 3. Click the Create Your First Agent button and verify that the modal opens. So this is basically how I would test the app as I was building it. And so this is kind of testing it for you. You can see here, if I expand this view, you can see here that the agent is going through these steps. Now it's going to describe the type of agent that you want. Oh, it's going to fill in these. You are a helpful marketing assistant. So it's not testing the AI generation functionality. It's got the AI agent created there, which is great. The modal closed successfully, and I can see there is now one total agent. However, the agent card for marketing assistant is not visible. It is visible there. Okay, this is early stages with this technology. It's still going to get some stuff wrong here. So so I'll now inspect the page structure and visual state to locate it. It is definitely there. So it's going to basically go through these steps and like test. There we go. It's found it. Okay. So it's now going to go into this chat here. So this is a chat with this marketing assistant agent that it's created. You can see all of your conversations on the left-hand side, and you can type a message in the middle here, and then that is going to build you, and then that is going to be able to chat with this marketing assistant agent. So you can see the system prompt that it's added in here as well. Sent a message, but it's not actually showing up in the chat. You can't actually have a chat with it. So, however, I noticed sidebar did not show the new conversation after I expected. Okay, so it did send the message here in the main chat, but the conversation isn't showing up on the left hand side. Okay, so it's done the test here, and you can watch this replay, or you can go back through like all of the steps that the agent did and like click through them here to see each of the steps, to like verify the test yourself and to see what the agent did, which is great. And then as you come down here, basically it's run the test, it's figured out what's happened, and then now it's actually fixing the issues that it found for you. So this is where Replit Agent 3 is really, really good. And if I had like sent this request off basically to the agent, this is not even on work autonomously. This is not even on max autonomy here. This is just the regular Agent 3 mode. You can see that this is basically doing so much for me that I would have had to do manually, building this myself, including like actually using a browser and testing it, which is amazing. You can see here that the test that it's now doing is like sent a message in the chat. The agent, the marketing assistant, has like responded basically with like a marketing specific message, which is great because that's the system prompt that it should be using. And then on the left hand side here, you can see the chat history with this agent. So we've basically just built a version of ChatGPT here, which but with AI agents. In 2 prompts, Replit has done this with Agent 3, which is insane. It said the tests passed successfully, the conversation bug has been fixed, the sidebar now properly works, it's done all these 4 things here. Let me update my task status, call the architect to review the completed work. Not the real architect. He's not getting on the phone to actually speak to an architect. I think the architect is maybe a sub-agent of the Replit Agent 3. That's my guess anyway, is that they're different sub-agents for different tasks, and one of the sub-agents is like an architect, one of the sub-agents is like a testing agent, and it's kind of like coordinating all of these different agents behind the scenes for you. That's what I think anyway. Excellent review from the architect. The ChatGPT style sidebar navigation and core functionality are working correctly and meet all MVP requirements. Let me update the task statuses. And so once this has finished, it's optimizing the agent memory so that it's not going to have like this huge conversation that it's referencing all the time here and just like burning through your AI credits at a super fast pace. Once this is finished here, I'm going to open the preview for this app up, and then we can actually test the app ourselves, see how this is working, and then finish up. This is actually now just like, this was just the bug checking bit of the agent. So this is actually now building out the list of features, the additional list of features that Replit suggested here for me. I I haven't pressed a button or a key or clicked on my mouse for about, well, I did click on the mouse to go through the test preview, but I really haven't done anything for literally the last 15 minutes here. Okay, while that's working through the additional features, I'm actually just going to like open this up here and like test this app myself. So this is a temporary development preview. Let's create a new agent. I actually want to test the generate with AI functionality here, so I'm just going to be doing this like whilst the agent is running, building those features in the background. So let's, instead of creating a marketing assistant, let's create a strategic business advisor. And let's generate these, the agent name, the role, and the instructions with AI. That's going to help us create the agent for us. We've got GPT-5 as a recommended AI model, a creativity level setting, which I didn't even add in here, which is super interesting. Hopefully this is going to populate these fields here with generated name, speciality, and instructions. Incredible. Okay, so this has created an agent name, strategic business advisor, role, trusted partner for executives to drive winning business strategy and execution. Here are the instructions. And this is like, this set of instructions is huge. This is like super detailed instructions here for this strategic advisor. I don't know if you would need this much detail, but this is going to create me a really specific and interesting AI agent to chat to. Let's put creativity on high, just see what happens. Instructions too long. Okay. So yeah, we need to like figure that out basically. So we might need to remove like a limit on here. So this has got guardrails, templates you can produce on demand, collaboration and cadence, data research, deliverables and output style, M&A and partnerships. I'm just going to remove some of these sections to try and get this like under the limit. GTM and pricing guidance, super useful. Quantitative guidelines and formulas, that's amazing. That's so good. Core frameworks to use and when and where. Engagement flow, typical use cases. This is crazy. This prompt is so good. I'm just going to delete a load of this and then see if it works. So let's create this agent. So I need to make a note of like removing the limit on the text from that, because I think that was super useful. Let's chat with this business advisor. Can you help me with my business? So let's chat with the business advisor. So we've got a conversation here on the left. There we go. Okay, so I clicked on the chat. It did actually load here. It was just taking a little while. So there are some performance improvements that I would want to do to this as well. So it said, can you help me with my business? And it might have just been taking a while because of the length of the response that it sent back here. So absolutely, I can help you clarify strategy, pick the highest ROI moves. Please share business basics. So this is now a strategic business advisor agent I can have a conversation with. I'm in my browser and I can go back to my dashboard and create any type of AI agent that I want to chat to here, and it's building all of this functionality whilst I'm kind of like previewing this for like exporting the chat history, like all these other complex features that it outlined, and I barely even touched Replit Agent here to actually build anything. So that is Replit Agent 3. Hopefully you can see how powerful it is and how much of an improvement it is over Replit Agent 2. And with that, I'm going to get into my final thoughts and wrap things up. So hopefully you can see the power of Replit Agent 3, and I actually think that Replit is one of the best tools out there for building apps with AI. They just consistently deliver some of the best features in AI coding tools out there, and they put it into a package which is super simple to understand from a non-technical point of view. Now historically, I think Replit has struggled to be a tool that you can use to create complex or production grade apps, but with this they're getting so close, and you could potentially even launch production ready apps using Replit now and just have it build everything, even all of the complex functionality that you need behind the scenes using Replit Agent 3. And the trajectory that they're on means that this is really going to become like the all-in-one platform that so many people use to build and launch apps and actually build businesses on in the next 3 years. So if you want to check it out, I would highly recommend going over to replit.com, test Agent 3 for yourself today, me, this is a huge announcement and a really big step change in AI coding tools for building apps. If you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you are building an AI app, or you've got an idea for an app that you want to build, then you can check out my community helping people do exactly that over at school.com/AI apps. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Build great products. Build great products.